Readings of Almighty God's Words. Exposing Antichrists.
Item 5. They mislead, draw in, threaten, and control people. The story of Dabao and Xiaobao. Before we formally begin our fellowship today, let me start with a story. Do all of you enjoy listening to stories? Now, is there a principle in listening to stories? In the stories that are being told, you should be able to comprehend an aspect of the truth, understand an aspect of God's intentions, recognize an aspect of human nature essence, or discover within the story the truth reality that people should practice and enter into. This is the meaning of telling stories. It's not idle chatter, and it's certainly not gossip. Some people, when they listen to stories, only grasp the events. What kind of people are they?
People with poor caliber.
Poor caliber means they are thoughtless. Mainly, they lack spiritual understanding. Regardless of what story they listen to, they can only remember the events or pick up on a few regulations from the story. But when it comes to the various truths that people should understand from within the story, they don't grasp, understand, or comprehend them. Is this behavior not indicative of the least spiritual understanding? Among you, has anyone shown this kind of behavior after listening to a story? After hearing it, they didn't understand much, felt the story was meaningless, and it didn't matter whether it was told or not. Do such people have the comprehension ability? When you listen to a story, can you gain some benefit from the events within it? Regardless of whether you can understand the truth from it, you should understand the principle I just mentioned regarding listening to stories. Now, let's begin with the story. There was a little boy named Xiaobao. Recently, a certain man came to his house, and this man frequently went out to spread the gospel with Xiaobao's parents. One day, Xiaobao's parents went out to handle some errands, leaving only the man and Xiaobao at home. What happened next is an interesting story. Since Xiaobao wasn't very familiar with the man, that man decided to walk over and get friendly with Xiaobao while he was playing. He told Xiaobao that he knew him and even knew his name. Xiaobao felt happy and thought that the man couldn't be a bad person. Then the man asked Xiaobao, "Xiaobao, have your parents ever mentioned me while they were talking?" Xiaobao thought for a moment and said, "I don't know." The man said, "You're an honest child. Good children say what they know." He asked Xiaobao again, "Did your parents ever mention me?" Xiaobao still said he didn't know. The man continued, "Xiaobao, be good. If you tell me the truth, I'll give you some candy." Xiaobao thought for a moment, but still said he didn't know. The man contemplated, "How can I make him tell me the truth?" He thought for a moment, then said to Xiaobao, "Xiaobao, your parents believe in God, and I do too. I am your parents' best friend. All three of us believe in God, and you believe in God too. Do you know what kind of children God likes?" Xiaobao thought about it and said, "I don't know." The man said, "God likes honest children. those who don't tell lies. When they know something, they say they know, and when they don't know, they say they don't know. That's what you might call an honest child, and God likes children like this. Xiao Bao thought about this and said, "Okay." Then he stopped saying that he didn't know. The man continued, "If you tell me the truth, then you will be an honest child, a child who God loves." Xiao Bao thought about this and said, "Okay then." The man asked, "What does okay then mean?" Xiao Bao said, "It means that my parents have said something about you before." Then the man kept asking what was said and repeatedly told Xiao Bao to be an honest child and not to tell lies. Xiao Bao said, "My mom and dad said that you are not a good person. They said you're not very honest, and they should be careful when speaking with you." The man asked again, "What else did your mom and dad say?" Xiao Bao replied, "I can't remember." "Be a good boy," the man said. Then Xiao Bao replied, "My mom and dad said they shouldn't tell you everything." Then the man continued to question him, and Xiao Bao told him a lot. The man felt more and more uneasy and said to Xiao Bao, "Xiao Bao, you're such a good child, a child who God loves because you're an honest person and you tell me anything you know." By this time, Xiao Bao was no longer as guarded as he was initially with this man, and he no longer responded with, "I don't know," to everything he asked him. He wanted to tell the man everything, to tell him whatever the man didn't know. He had only to ask Xiao Bao. The man also revealed to Xiao Bao, "My nickname is Da Bao. So you see, you're called Xiao Bao, and I'm called Da Bao. Shouldn't we become the best of friends?" Xiao Bao answered, "Yes." As they continued back and forth, they spoke about many things, and the more they talked, the happier they felt. Xiao Bao also got some candy to eat and stopped being on his guard against the man. Then, the man made this requirement of Xiao Bao. "In the future, if your mom and dad say something about me again, can you tell me?" Xiao Bao said, "Of course, because we're good friends." Xiao Bao was no longer on his guard against this man, and this man got the information he wanted from him. From that day on, they became very good friends. Whenever Xiao Bao's mom and dad said something about the man, Xiao Bao would quickly tell it to him. The man also promised Xiao Bao, "I absolutely won't tell your mom and dad about the matter between us both. It's our secret. In the future, if you ever need something delicious to eat or fun to play with, I'll definitely buy it for you. And if there's something you don't want your mom and dad to know, I'll keep it a secret for you." So Xiao Bao felt even more at ease and trusted the man wholeheartedly. He kept sincere contact with him, and they became truly good friends. That is the whole story. It doesn't involve many characters. The main characters are Da Bao and Xiao Bao. The specific subject matter revolves around how the man Da Bao tries to mislead, coax, and draw in the child Xiao Bao, getting him to tell the man certain information he wants to know. That's what kind of story and dialogue this is. What can we see from this simple plot and dialogue? Whose characteristics are mainly discussed here? Is it the child or the adult? So, what is being illustrated here? What is the primary subject matter of the story? The primary subject matter involves how this adult uses various means to achieve his goal. Did you understand what means he used? He used incentives to draw the child in and the right words to mislead him, and he even enticed him. What did he use to entice him? Benefits. He enticed the child using benefits. Drawing in, enticing, and misleading. This constitutes both enticement and misleading, using the right words to entice, and also carrying a slightly threatening nature. The words may sound right, but what did he use these words for? He used them to achieve his own ulterior purposes. The means he used are basically clear. Is this the behavior that normal humanity possesses? Then, what aspect of Satan's corrupt disposition does this behavior belong to?
Wickedness.
Why do we say wickedness instead of deceitfulness? Wickedness goes to a deeper level than deceitfulness. It's more insidious, more secretive, more misleading, and harder to fathom. And wickedness carries within it enticing, coaxing, drawing in, winning over, bribing, and tempting. These actions and behaviors go far beyond deceitfulness. They are wicked, without a doubt. The man didn't say, "If you don't tell me, I'll hit you, kick you, or slaughter you." He didn't adopt such methods, and outwardly, he didn't appear malicious. However, this is even more formidable than malice. This is wickedness. Why do I say it's wickedness? Deceitfulness can usually be detected by most people, but his method is more devious. On the surface, he uses polite language that conforms to human affection. But in reality, deep down, there are things that are more hidden. His actions and methods are more concealed, more insidious than the deceitfulness commonly seen and encountered by people. His tactics are more sophisticated, more duplicitous, and more misleading. This is wickedness. In daily life, can you distinguish and discern the revelation of other people's wicked disposition and their wicked behavior? While deceitful individuals may be fairly tactful, after interacting with them for some time, most people can still see through them. However, those who have a wicked disposition are not so easy to see through. If you can't see the essence or consequences, you have no way to see through them. Wicked individuals are even more insidious than deceitful ones. You have no way of seeing through them from just a sentence or two. When it comes to people with a wicked disposition, during some time or a short period, you might not see through or penetrate why they are doing that certain thing, why they are speaking or acting in such a manner. One day, when they have been utterly revealed and entirely laid bare, then everybody will finally discover what kind of person they are. This is more than just deceitfulness. It is wickedness. Therefore, discerning a wicked disposition requires a period of time, and sometimes the consequences must first come into view before one is able to discern it. This isn't something that can be discerned quickly. For instance, the Great Red Dragon has misled people for decades, and only now have a small number of people had some discernment. The Great Red Dragon often says things that sound the best and align most with human notions, raising the banner of serving the people to mislead people and the banner of justice to drive out dissidents, slaughtering countless good people. But few can discern this because what it says and does appears right to people. People all think that everything it does is just and fitting, legal and reasonable, and in line with humanism. As a result, it has misled people for decades. When it is finally exposed and collapses, people will see its true face is that of the devil, and its nature essence is wicked. The Great Red Dragon has misled people for so many years, and the poison of the Great Red Dragon is within everyone. They have become its descendants. Are any of you capable of doing the types of things the Great Red Dragon has done? Some people speak like the Great Red Dragon, using very pleasing words but doing no real work. All their words are pleasant, but they do no real work. Also, they are particularly insidious and wicked. When it comes to such people, if anyone offends them, they won't let it go. Sooner or later, they will find the appropriate opportunity to achieve their purpose of revenge, but not give them any leverage. They may even handle the matter without coming forward and showing their face. Isn't this wicked? Wicked people operate with principles, methods, intentions, motives, and purposes that are particularly secretive and hidden. Wicked individuals employ schemes to harm others, sometimes using others to kill on their behalf, sometimes tormenting others by luring them to commit sins, and sometimes using laws or resorting to all sorts of despicable means to torment others. These are all manifestations of wickedness, and none of them are just or honest methods. Do any of you exhibit these behaviors or revelations? Can you discern them? Are you aware that they constitute a wicked disposition? Deceitfulness can usually be seen on the outside. Someone beats around the bush or uses flowery language, and no one can read what they are thinking. That is deceitfulness. What is the primary characteristic of wickedness? It's that their words sound especially pleasing, and everything seems right on the surface. There doesn't appear to be any problem, and things look pretty good from every angle. When they do something, you don't see them using any particular means, and outwardly, there is no sign of weak points or flaws, yet they achieve their goal. They do things in an extremely secretive manner. This is how antichrists mislead people. People and matters like these are the most difficult to discern. Some people often say the right things, use good-sounding excuses, and employ certain doctrines, sayings, or actions that conform to human affection to pull the wool over people's eyes. They feign one thing while doing another in order to achieve their ulterior purpose. This is wickedness, but most people consider these behaviors to be deceitful. People have a relatively limited understanding and dissection of wickedness. Actually, wickedness is more difficult to discern than deceitfulness because it is more secretive, and its methods and actions are more sophisticated. If someone has a deceitful disposition within them, usually others can detect their deceitfulness within 2 or 3 days of interacting with them, or they can perceive the revelation of their deceitful disposition in the person's actions and words. However, supposing that person is wicked, this isn't something that can be discerned within a few days, because without any significant events or special circumstances taking place in a short period of time, it isn't easy to discern anything from just listening to them talk. They always say and do the right things, and present one right doctrine after another. After a few days of interacting with them, you might think this person is pretty good, is able to forsake things and expend themselves, has spiritual understanding, has a God-loving heart, and has both conscience and reason in the way they act. But after they handle a few matters, you see that their speech and actions are mixed up with too many things, too many devilish intentions. You realize that this person isn't honest but deceitful, a wicked thing. They frequently use the right words and pleasing phrases that align with the truth and possess human affection to interact with people. In one respect, they establish themselves, and in another, they mislead others, achieving prestige and status among people. Such individuals are incredibly misleading, and once they attain power and status, they can mislead and harm many people. People with wicked dispositions are highly dangerous. Are there any such people around you? Are you yourselves like this?
Yes.
Then how serious is it? Speaking and acting without any truth principles, wholly relying on your wicked nature to act, always wishing to mislead others and live behind a mask so that others cannot see through or recognize you, and will regard your humanity and status with esteem and admiration. This is wickedness. Do you exhibit these wicked behaviors only on occasion, or are you like this most of the time? Is this just who you are, and is it challenging for you to break free? If it's only on occasion that you employ such methods, this can still be changed. However, if this is just who you are, consistently acting tactfully and with deceitfulness, and constantly relying on schemes, then you are the craftiest of devils. I'll tell you the truth. People like this will never change. In the story, Dabao uses these methods to mislead Xiaobao and make the boy tell him the truth. Tell me, who taught him to act like this? No one taught him. So, where did these tricks come from? They came from his nature, from his corrupt essence. He's just that kind of person. He doesn't spare even a child. How despicable. If he wants to know the truth, he can directly ask the child's parents, or he can actively get to know himself and lay his heart bare to them. Then they might tell him the truth. There's no need to use such methods to do these shameful and clumsy things behind others' backs. This is what people with wicked dispositions do. Tell me, isn't it disgusting? He doesn't even spare a child. He sees the child as easy to bully, fool, and cheat, so he plots against him. Now, if he sees an adult who is honest and kind, how will he treat them? Can he let them be? Absolutely not. If he sees someone similar to himself, someone who loves to employ strategies in their words and actions, what will he do?
He knows that the person is just as wicked as he is, and might be on guard against them, not revealing anything easily.
Besides being on guard, what else might he do? He will compete openly and in secret. That's it. This is the behavior of people with wicked dispositions. People like this love to compete with others openly and in secret, and they seize every opportunity. They have a famous maxim, and if you encounter people like this and hear them say it, you can be sure they have a wicked disposition. What do they say? For example, when you suggest they cooperate with another person to do their duty, they say, "Oh, I can't compete with them." Their first thought is always about competition. Their first idea isn't about how to cooperate with others to do the job well, but about competing with them. This is their famous maxim. Regardless of the social group they are in, whether they're among non-believers, brothers and sisters, or family members, what is their one rule? It's competition. And if they cannot outperform others in the open, then they'll do it in secret. This kind of disposition is wicked. Some people may appear on the surface to be chatting casually with others, but in their hearts, they're competing in secret, employing various means and techniques to attack and belittle the other person indirectly. People who cannot discern this won't see through their tactics, and by the time they do, their competition has already come to a result. This is wickedness. When wicked people interact with others, it's all about competing openly and in secret, adopting various schemes, plots, or certain methods to defeat others, make them surrender, and ultimately make everyone yield to them. Since the existence of humanity until now, the entire history of humanity has been filled with competition. Whether on a grand scale between nations, on a smaller scale between families, or on an individual level between people, there is no group that isn't full of conflict. If it isn't open competition, then it is in secret. If it isn't verbal confrontation, then it is physical. The period of most frequent wars among various ethnic groups in Chinese history was the Spring and Autumn period and the Warring States period. Most of the famous books on military strategy were produced during those two periods, like the tactics contained within The Art of War by Sun Tzu. These were all produced during that time. There's also the book, The 36 Stratagems, which documents various tactics for use in warfare. Some of these military strategies and tactics are still in use today. Tell me, what are a few of its strategies?
The self-injury strategy.
The diversionary strategy.
The double agent strategy, empty city strategy, and honey trap strategy.
All of these famous strategies, whether they begin with honey trap, empty city, or diversionary, end with strategy. What does strategy mean? It implies certain insidious, treacherous, hidden, or secret tactics. These tactics have nothing to do with planning. They're about scheming. What do we see behind these tactics? Are their actions, their behavior, and these tactics and practices employed by them in warfare in line with humanity and the truth? Does God work this way? Absolutely not. So, whom do these practices represent? They represent Satan and this wicked humanity. Where do these strategies of wicked humanity come from?
Satan.
They are received from Satan. Some might have trouble understanding this, so I should say that they are received from the devil kings. Then people will understand. Who are the devil kings? They are the demons and Satan who are reincarnated into the world to sow discord and wreak havoc among humanity. They formed these strategies. In the records of God's work, have you ever seen him use an empty city strategy or a diversionary strategy? Does God's management plan include these strategies? God has never used such strategies to manage his work. These strategies are used by the entirety of wicked humanity. From a nation or a dynasty on a larger scale, to a tribe or a family on a smaller scale, and even down to the relationships between individuals. Anywhere you find corrupt humanity, you find conflict. What are they fighting over? What are they competing for? What's their goal? It's all for power, status, and profit, to gain these things. Nation fights against nation for control over more people. Tribes fight each other for territory, people, and sovereignty. Individuals fight for superiority and profit. Everywhere there is humanity, there is conflict, because everywhere there is humanity, there is the corruption of Satan. Humanity as a whole has been corrupted by Satan, so the world is filled with conflict and bloodshed. In whatever it does, corrupt humanity cannot escape the bonds of Satan's disposition. Therefore, the entire history of humanity, whether in the West or the East, every part of its history is a deplorable account of the wicked struggle of humanity. Humanity even regards these things as glorious. Some people are still studying China's 36 stratagems today. Are you studying them? If you deliberately study these things, absorbing the experiences, lessons, means, methods, and techniques contained within them to enrich your brain and make them a part of your skills for survival, that is definitely wrong. You will inevitably get closer to Satan, becoming more and more wicked, more and more evil. However, if you can change your perspective and dissect, discern, and expose them according to God's words, what kind of result will you achieve? You will hate Satan even more, and understand and hate yourself even more. What's an even better outcome? It is to reject Satan and be dead set on following God. Satan uses these so-called traditional cultures and all kinds of knowledge and theories that humanity has accumulated over thousands of years to instruct and instill into people, aiming to corrupt and control them at a deeper level. If you master these things and know how to use them, then you'll become a living Satan, and you'll be thoroughly eliminated by God. When fellowshipping on understanding oneself during past gatherings, most people would often bring up the issue of an arrogant disposition, which is the most common corrupt disposition, and its existence is widespread. What other corrupt dispositions are relatively common? Deceitfulness, intransigence, aversion to the truth, and viciousness. These are things that people frequently encounter. Wickedness is less often seen, and there is not as much recognition of it. It can be said that a wicked disposition is the most difficult to recognize, and it is a deeply hidden and relatively secretive kind of corrupt disposition, isn't it? For example, suppose two people live together, and neither of them loves the truth or pursues it, nor are they loyal in doing their duties. On the outside, the two of them may appear to live together in harmony with no issues at all. However, deep down, neither of them pursues the truth, and various corrupt dispositions still exist, though you can't see them. Why can't you see them? It's because both of these individuals are particularly deceitful and sly in their actions. Since you do not understand the truth and lack any discernment whatsoever, you can't see through the essence of their problems. The truths you understand are few. Your stature is too small. So there are many complex issues you have no way to comprehend, and you're powerless to help other people resolve their issues. As leaders, what should you do when you encounter people like this? If you expose and discern them, are they readily accepting of that? No, they're not. So, how should you deal with such people? Is there a way to do it? What is the principle in dealing with such people? If they possess some technical or professional skills to labor for the sake of God's house, you should treat them as brothers and sisters and make demands of them as such. However, seeing as such people don't pursue the truth, can they be loyal in doing their duties? What behavior indicates that they lack loyalty? Don't people like this excel in doing things for show? When nobody is around, they play around and take their time. As soon as they see someone coming, they pick up the pace. They may even bring up a bunch of questions, asking whether this or that is acceptable. Once that person leaves, they stop working, do nothing, have no issue to raise at all, and even say in their hearts, "I was just playing around with you. I'm not that foolish." People like this do everything for show. They are especially skilled in presenting a facade and excel at pretense, giving people a false impression. Many people who have interacted with them for years still can't see through their sly and deceitful essence. When others inquire about them, they even say, "This person is quite good, treats everyone nicely, never harms anyone, just a people pleaser." Even when someone does wrong, they don't prune them. They continuously exhort and comfort others. What means and methods do these people employ in their interactions with others? They play a role to suit the occasion, are smooth and slick, and most people say they're a good person. Are there people like this around you? Everyone tends to reveal their own corrupt dispositions, but these individuals wrap themselves up tightly, making it impossible for anyone to detect their issues. Isn't this a problem? In history, some emperors committed numerous misdeeds, yet later generations still call them wise rulers. why do people hold such views about them? Did they not put in some effort and do some things to preserve their own reputation? On one hand, they did some good things for the sake of their own political achievements, while on the other, they distorted history and killed those who wrote the truth and facts about them to conceal their wrongdoings. However, no matter how they tried to cover them up, there are, without a doubt, records of their deeds. They couldn't eliminate everyone who knew the truth. Eventually, those matters were exposed little by later generations. When people found out, they felt cheated. By exposing these historical facts, people should have a new understanding of the truth about all of humanity. What kind of understanding? From monarchs to the common people, all of humanity lies in the hands of the wicked, corrupted by Satan, so that each person is more wicked than the next. There is no one who is not evil, no one who is not bad. They have all committed many wrongdoings. They are all quite wicked. There is no one among them who is good. Some say, in every dynasty, there are a few upright officials. Do these upright officials count as wicked? If you believe in God under the authority of these upright officials, see whether they'll arrest you or not. If you testify about God to them, observe their attitude. You will immediately know whether they are wicked or not. God's appearance and work, as well as the truth He expresses, reveal people for who they are more than anything else. Some rulers and officials may have achieved certain political accomplishments and done some good acts. But what is the nature of these good acts? Who benefits from them? They are good acts demanded by the ruling class. Are the good acts they do the good deeds that God approves of? Are these political accomplishments practicing the truth and submitting to God? Absolutely not. Their political achievements and good acts have absolutely no relationship with the truth or with submitting to God. What good acts and political accomplishments they do have are all driven by their intentions and motives. It's all done in order to immortalize themselves and be praised by others. Therefore, no matter how many good acts they perform or how many political achievements they accumulate, it cannot prove that they are good people with kind hearts, let alone that they have never committed evil or do not possess a wicked nature. Are you clear about what kind of person these people are in the eyes of God? Can you use these matters to understand yourselves? Do you engage in such practices where you want to show off as soon as you do something good, making sure everyone knows, then outwardly saying that one shouldn't be boastful or arrogant, that one should comport themselves with humility? For instance, you go to a new church to work, and people don't know that you're in a leadership position, so you have to try every means to make people know that you're a leader. And you rack your brains all night, finally coming up with a good solution. What's the solution? You gather everyone for a meeting and say, during today's gathering, let's fellowship about whether I, as a leader, am qualified or not. If I'm not qualified, you can expose and remove me. If I am, then I'll continue in this role. When everyone hears this, they immediately know you're a leader. Haven't you achieved your goal with this? Where did this goal come from? It stems from your wicked nature. Having ambitions is a common human trait. But though all people have ambitions, some use various different languages, methods, and strategies at different times and in different places to achieve their desired goals. This is wickedness. Regarding this topic of wicked nature, we will continue to discuss it frequently. This way, you will gain a more thorough understanding of this aspect of the truth and corrupt disposition. In one respect, you'll be able to understand yourselves, and in another, you'll be able to discern different kinds of people. You will also have a deeper entry into the truth. If I only fellowship on a general concept or on one aspect of the definition, your understanding will be fairly shallow. However, by using certain facts and providing examples for our fellowship, your understanding can then grow deeper. For example, suppose two kids are talking together. One of them asks, "Did you do your homework today?" The other responds, "No, I didn't." Then the first one says, "I didn't either." Are they both telling the truth?
Yes.
You're mistaken. One of them is lying. What is he thinking in his heart? "Fool, do you think that I really haven't done it? I'm not that stupid. If I don't do my homework, I'll get punished. How can I not have done it? I deliberately made you think I didn't do it so that you wouldn't do it either. In the end, you'll get punished, and I can enjoy a good laugh. Is this child bad? Have any of you done something like this?" Here's another example. In class on Monday, one student says she went shopping on Sunday, while another claims she visited friends. In reality, both of them were at home studying. Especially in a highly competitive environment like China, these things are said to make your competitor lower their guard so you can surpass them. This is what's called a strategy. Such things are commonplace in daily life. Sometimes parents and children engage in similar dialogues and reveal similar dispositions, which friends may also reveal among themselves. The revelations of this disposition are observable everywhere. You just have to keep a watchful eye out for them. Why keep watch? It isn't for gathering material, idly chatting, gossiping, or creating stories. Instead, it's to improve your discernment, allowing you to compare yourself with what others do and what they reveal and exhibit, so you can see if you exhibit similar behaviors. When you see someone exhibiting this kind of behavior, you'll understand that they have this disposition. However, when you also exhibit such behaviors, will you be able to recognize that you have this disposition too? If you can't recognize it, then your understanding of their disposition is false. You haven't truly understood it. Or, in other words, you do not have spiritual understanding, and you have not understood it accurately. These topics cannot be fully covered in a few days. Discussing a bit of it will help you gain a little, and your understanding of the truth will deepen somewhat. If you genuinely love the truth, you'll have a deeper level of entry. The depth of your experience and entry is inseparable from your understanding. The depth of your experience and entry will definitely determine the depth of your understanding. Similarly, the depth of your understanding can also demonstrate how deep you have experienced and entered in. These two are interconnected. This is the path to enter into the truth, and only by entering into the truth can you possess reality. We'll conclude this topic here.